JonB and Courtney808, welcome to the channel. What's going on, everybody? How are you?
What's going on, man?
What's
Good,
up?
thanks.
We were having a good ass conversation before this. I'm not even in front like I just started talking to y'all right now. It was a good ass conversation before this about sushi and Hawaii. But please
Facts.
do introduce yourselves to anybody who doesn't know who you are.
Sure. Courtney, tell everybody who we are.
Hello, everyone. It's Courtney808. This is itsmeJonB. We are the duo that created Talk Limited. We are a network of a variety of different shows on Twitch, and we guarantee that there's something for everybody. And I'll let John actually give the breakdown about our channels. But other than that, we are sex positive, body positive, and overall horny on constant and horny on main.
Yeah, like Courtney said, we have overtones of sexuality in our show, and that is because our show really our flagship show formed our network. So Let's Talk is our 18 plus sex positive, body positive podcast, and because we started with that show, it really helped our personalities shine through. So if anybody listening, if you're 18 plus, if you are sex positive, if you are body positive, if you are interested in that kind of conversation, check us out on Fridays. But like Courtney said, there's shows for everybody on our channel. So for instance, if you come in on a Wednesday, you might catch Talk Circuit or Talk to Me, which is our two different kinds of interview shows. If you join us on alternating Tuesdays, I don't want to say every other Tuesday, but if you join us on alternating Tuesdays, you'll catch Just Trust Me, which is the #1 trivia game show on Twitch, hosted by... Yeah, were you able to catch any of them?
Yeah, I was watching last night.
Nice. Hosted by Kirby CWL of Talk Limited. We have a brand new horror show that's coming out on Mondays, hosted by Kirby as well, and our new host, Shiny Mika Blue. And then on Thursdays, I'm working backwards. But if you tune in on Thursdays, most Thursdays, you can catch us doing Talk Gaming, where we do a discussion show about the latest video game news. So we have a lot of different talk shows. We also throw in some gaming and community nights as well, when sometimes we can't book somebody or we want to take like a purposeful day off from doing interview shows, because it's really hard for us to have our personalities shine through all the time when we do these interview shows, as you probably are starting to learn, right? Because I'm doing all the talking right now, you're just listening.
Yep.
You know, and that's what it's like doing interview shows, you know. So any chance that we have to let our personality shine through, we try to take as much advantage of.
Anything to add, Courtney?
I mean, we're very lucky that we've established a pretty good community that we incorporate all of these great shows into. So yeah, and we're constantly trying to evolve and add new shows. So I think that's the way to put it.
And so you said the flagship show was the 18 plus one that you guys do on Fridays?
It was, yeah.
And
or
so
I should say it is.
By that you mean it's like the first one you guys started? Like, how did it start? Like, what was the first show? And then what made you be like, let's do another one?
Our personalities, I think, it came out naturally. Courtney we were doing collaborations on Courtney's channel when we had 2 separate channels. And the first iteration of it was a drunken night of playing Red Dead Redemption, and we let chat really guide the conversation, and chat really encouraged our full personalities to come out. You know, Courtney will tell you what our brand.
We got to take it back even a little bit further. How did y'all two meet? I need to like what is the how did y'all meet? We need to start there first.
Well, I was on Twitch prowling for women like most people do. No. I'm just...
You'll be shocked to know. So I actually started doing Twitch because I do a little thing called Extra Life every year, and we raise money for the big, beautiful children. And because of COVID, normally the team that I participate with, we get together and we game together to raise money for our Children's Miracle Network Hospital affiliate. Unfortunately, we all could. Yeah, Extra Life.
What is it like exactly?
So Extra Life is a nationwide, actually worldwide, fundraiser for different Children's Miracle Network hospitals, and it's a kind of like a game-a-thon where it's one day out of the year and you game for a cause. And in this case, it's for the Children's Miracle Network hospitals. And for my team, we played games. It's like a 24 hours of gaming. and a fundraiser, and we were raising money for Kapilani Medical Center for Women and Children. And unfortunately, due to COVID, we couldn't all get together to do this. So as a group, we're like, you know what, we should actually try and start getting into, streaming with Twitch. And that way, when comes time for game day, we'll have a little bit more of a following. That way we can actually, raise some good money for this cause. So for me, I was on Twitch. I was networking and looking for other streamers, and I stumbled upon itsmeJonB playing playing some Soviet jump game.
Oh yeah.
And then he was, he's playing Soviet jump game, and he was just so interactive with chat, and he was just very, charismatic and charming. And he, I didn't know the ins and outs of Twitch, so I just came in guns blazing, and I'm like, hey, can I teach you some Hawaiian?
Wait, you're just gonna teach him some Hawaiian and just to teach him?
So she was just in the chat, and she was like,
okay.
Hey, I'm jump. She goes, I'm going into people's chats trying to teach you Hawaiian. Do you mind if I do the same for you, or something along those lines? And I'm like, because I'm playing Soviet Jump Game, which for those who don't know, it's a free to play game on Steam, and it's essentially think of like a Mario stage, but it's like a oh my god, like what is like a battle royale side scroller. Okay, so you get your character, you get your power-ups, you stomp on the other players, or you kill them with your power-ups. And I'm playing, and chat is great, but they're not a lot, right? So here comes Courtney, and she's like, hey, can I teach you Hawaiian? And I'm like, oh my god, yes. Perfect, somebody in here to help make content with me. That's in like my brain, right? You know what I mean? So it was like, if you're a streamer out there, sometimes it's hard when you're new. You need a little bit of a push, you need a little bit of help. And I was like, yes, I'm all in. Let's go ahead and learn some Hawaiian together. And Courtney was giving me words and phrases to say, and the word that the phrase that she taught me was a hui ho, which means a hui ho, which is until next time, or until we meet again, something along those lines.
Yep. Until we meet again. Very good. Look at you remembering.
Hui ho.
A hui ho. A hui ho. And then so that was how we first met.
Yeah, and
wow,
it was really cool because
awesome.
like he let me commandeer his chat, and afterwards I messaged him. I'm like, thank you so much for letting me commandeer your chat. I really appreciate you being super cool about it. And he was like, oh yeah, no problem. It was welcome. And then like I kept showing up in his chat, and I started asking him like, hey, you seem to be more knowledgeable about Twitch than I am, and I kept asking for advice. And I was streaming like out of my PS4, and it was really bad. And then I started streaming out of my Mac laptop, and as we progressed, he just kept, was lucky enough that he kept giving me his time and helping me better my stream, to the point that we were constantly in each other's chats. And we were like, why don't we collaborate? And why don't we work together? And John was actually getting into doing more interviews. And I asked him, I said, hey, is this something you want to do like as more of a staple? And he's yes. I said, well, okay, because you're really good at it. And I, lucky for you, happen to work in marketing as well as work with people here, local personalities who do interviews. So I helped, and we helped name his show. We rebranded, and I was starting to try to bring him more guests to interview, and then we just kind of kept going back and forth in collaborating, to the point that we played Red Dead Redemption Online on my channel. John got drunk, and then lewd chat started, and then we realized that we had a lot of commonalities with the positivity as far as our personalities were concerned. And then we started doing more of shows, and then Christmas time came around, and John's like, what if we made a channel? What if we started a business together?
Ooh. Wow, what an organic, like, it's just from you coming into the chat and being like a real one, first off, because that shit is so dope when you have somebody come in there and like start actually speaking, and like you're not just talking to yourself and just narrating what you're playing. Like, that is such a real move. Like, if anybody does that in my chat, I'm always just like, yo, I will talk to you for 2 hours straight. Thank you for initiating this.
That's the way to do it, honestly.
Seriously, so that's so cool.
And that's like a real piece of advice too. It's like if somebody comes in and their personality is shining through the chat, take advantage. You know what I mean? Like, don't think that this person is coming in and being like, oh, they're self-promoting or they're trying to steal my viewers. Don't think anything negative of somebody coming in, and learn to handle trolls too. Of course, Courtney wasn't being a troll, but like you can make so much content out of like a troll being a troll. We just did it the other night. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we did.
During our 18 plus, this guy comes in. Can we swear on your channel, by the way?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
And get a little bit lewd. Okay, well the dude comes in, he's like, hey, show some nipple, and I'm like, oh, I would totally do that, but we could get TOS. You know what I mean? Not you, bro. It's like, what do you mean not me, bro? There's two people on the screen. You got to be a little bit more specific. You know what I mean? And he's like, I guess it's impossible to get banned from this channel. And I just went in and I was like, let's see who you are. And I'm like, oh, you just made this account 2 days ago? Yeah, that's how you get banned from this channel. And I banned him because obviously the only reason why he was there was to get trolled, or to troll, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So you just have to roll with the punches. So don't get in your feelings about it either. These people, they don't know who you are and they don't care who you are. So like the more you like see these attacks and don't take them personally, the more you're gonna have fun with it. You know what I mean?
It's content. Yeah, so turn it into content.
100% content. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
CF Woody, you are a legend.
I would have shown him my nipple too. So I
would have showed him the nipple. I mean, if he had gifted 10 subs, would you have showed some nipples?
100%.
We've done more for less,
Although we need to stop saying that, Courtney, because we actually need to we need to get back in the black. We're in the red
too
much.
Y'all need to rise these prices.
Yeah, we need to stop telling people we're cheap, because this
stock is going up. Yeah, stock has got to go up. Y'all have a network. I'm telling you, I really thought it was cool when people had one show, but y'all have a fucking network, and it's really cool. So how do you like manage everything? Because I imagine not that I imagine, I've seen there's different accounts for each thing. Does that help? Does that hurt? Like when it comes to content creation and scheduling and all of that, because social media and promotion is its own thing, like outside of streaming and creating the content, then you actually got to promote what it is you do. So how have you found like that it's worked, having like so many different accounts and so many different shows that you're trying to really grow?
Well, the best piece of advice that I can really say is that if you have multiple ideas, you need each idea to have its own platform, right? So we have a sex positive podcast. We want the sex positive show to have its own Twitter. It has its own Instagram, right? And the reason why we have that is because we want that content to stand on its own, and we don't want it to get buried within all the other content. Plus, I mean, there might be some people who just show up to certain shows and don't show up for other shows, just like any other TV network, right? So if we're posting everything on just the Talk Limited channel, we're probably missing a lot of chances of organic engagement, because it's getting buried by all the other stuff. And honestly, our 18 plus account is a little bit NSFW, and not everybody wants to follow that kind of stuff on their Twitter. So that's one example. Another example is our Talk Trivia account, that TVLK Trivia. That one's just for Just Trust Me. That one's managed by Kirby, and the reason being is because he's the host, but he does so much more than just hosting. He recommends who's going to be on the next show. He reaches out, he schedules, he does a majority of what it's done, and I want his personality to be able to shine through. So I said, well, okay, I need you to make a social media account. And really what it's going to come down to is we wear so many different masks when we're content creators, that we're also learning these things as we go. And these are things that you could probably put on a resume in the future if you ever wanted to get another job. You're doing social media management at this point, right? You're doing promotions at this point, right? It may be at the lowest common denominator for you, but for somebody else, it can look really, really good. That's why we keep everything separate. And honestly, I think it's more of a help than a hurt. But Courtney and I manage the two main accounts, which is the Talk Limited account and the Let's Talk account together. Yep.
Anything to add to that, Courtney?
And for us, it's no harm in having more eyes, right? We don't know what reaches what. So for us, it's better to have multiple different accounts to hope that we can capitalize on reaching different networks, essentially. And so we do our best to really try to get into everything with Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, even
Are y'all on
TikTok, which
yeah, I was gonna ask.
we are.
On
We
TikTok?
haven't utilized. We haven't utilized it enough yet, and we're gonna get into it. But
yeah,
Hover.
We're doing Hover as well,
mm.
So, and then that's proving to be pretty beneficial for us too. So it's all about trying to just find that balance and finding it's all about playing with the algorithms. So we figure the more hands in different pots that we have, the better our chances. And it's because there's two of us, and it makes it a lot easier, because doing it by yourself is a bear, but at least we have the two of us to kind of divvy up the responsibilities. And the best part about it too is because we both run the accounts, people never really know who's tweeting what.
Whose nipples they might be asking for.
Whose nipples they're asking
Exactly
for.
right. Exactly right. Also, and what helps too is because we're both delegating the accounts, we're also delegating on what goes up where. So we have different management roles. We're talking to Christian, aka Suck Sandwich of Talk Gaming, and we have him managing the Talk Gaming account. We have Kirby, and we have him managing the Just Trust Me account. So it's a lot of delegating as well, but it's making sure that we run like a well-oiled machine.
And I know it's awesome. You guys have a great team, and it's so important to have good, strong people with different skills and specializations and things that they just bring to the table around you. How does that work? Like, how did you guys start talking to other streamers to get involved with this?
Well, we were lucky because, in the beginning it was just me and John, and we were lucky that people were starting to like what it is that we were doing, to the point that they were asking us to be part of Talk Limited. So it kind of happened organically. Like with Christian for our gaming news roundup show, John and Christian know each other IRL. And John had already, he knew what Christian's strengths were about knowing the latest video gaming news, and decided that together that they worked really well. And he's like, why don't we put a show together and see how it works? The good thing with us is that we're never afraid to try new things. We're never afraid to put a pilot out and see, give it a month worth of shows and see how that goes. Same thing happened with Just Trust Me. Originally, John was the host of Just Trust Me, and Kirby, who's been a pretty strong member of our community from the get-go, he loved the show so much that he was constantly talking about it and constantly watching and supporting it, to the point that he also hosts actual trivia at a local establishment in his hometown. And so he does have the experience. Yeah.
He jokes that he pestered me so much, but the fact of the matter is he didn't have to. I saw him as a potential host almost from the get-go, because I knew that he hosted trivia. And Courtney and I had that conversation, and I said, I do enjoy this show, but I don't feel like I get to be my entire self as the host. I think Kirby can do a lot better. And she said, yeah, let's give it a try sometime when you're ready to pass the mantle. And I said, okay, we'll keep it in mind. And I ran it by Kirby. Kirby never pestered me. Like, he says that, and I don't want, the reason why I want to correct the record is because I don't want people to pester me.
Hell no. Who the hell wants to get pestered?
I don't want people to pester me. He says it jokingly. He's never stepped out of line and be like, give me a show. He's never done that. What I do tell people to do, though, is if you have an idea and you think it's a great idea and you don't think that your platform is big enough for it, if you can show me you can deliver it, let's put you in a time slot on Talk Limited. Let's see how well you shine on it, and let's get some more eyes on you, right? So that's basically how Talk Limited works.
Yeah, damn, y'all are fucking, that's some spicy shit. CF Woody had a good question in the chat. The division of labor is a fantastic aspect you can utilize. Have you guys ever had any complications regarding that, like either of you being unhappy with each other's work? Or I guess you could extend that to anybody else who hosts on there. Has that happened?
Courtney is the laziest person I've ever worked with.
Really? Tell me more.
No, luckily not yet. And a lot of it comes with over communication. I think Kirby said it best recently in another interview that he was in. Was when he finally got the sit down with Courtney and myself for his pitch for a new show. He saw a different side of me that he'd never seen before. And it was the very real conversation of, we're gonna greenlight you for this many shows, and we're gonna watch your analytics while you do it. And
you are not on like no friend shit. This is business.
Yeah, this is business at this point. Yeah. So the conversation is very real, and it is a business. And Courtney and I did start this as an LLC. We have to file taxes for it for the first time. I'm very nervous about that. You know, it is a very real, legitimate business in the eyes of what is it? Corporate America, I guess. You know,
so government.
Yeah, the government.
Uncle Sam.
The government, yeah, exactly. So we do take it very seriously. What's up, Strike? I see you in the chat.
Yo, Strike Red Kite, thank you so much for joining. I should have said this at the beginning, but if I don't get to anybody's comments or anything in the chat, it's just because I don't want to interrupt our guests while they're giving answers. But I will do my best to try and go back into the chat and try and read everything. And if you guys have questions, throw those out there because that makes my job fucking easier.
Exactly.
Always here to support Talking Friends. Hell the fuck yeah. This is awesome. How do you guys like this, by the way, being on like the guest side of things, because you guys do so much hosting, and I saw you guys were even panelists last night. Like, how do you like this being on the other side?
Well, I love to talk, so this is awesome.
Dude, you have such a good radio voice. Holy fuck.
Oh, doesn't he?
It's such a good radio voice.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
How do you like being on the guest side, Courtney?
You're a very good talker too. So.
Hey,
yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
I like it. It's different for us because we're used to being the ones in your seat. So it's nice to not have to worry about anything else. We just have to be ourselves, which we have no problem in being. Sometimes we end up being too much of ourselves, but it's fine.
Nah, never too much of yourselves. I don't even know what that means. You gotta always just be you.
Yeah, I mean, and you saw the difference, like when we sat down and we were here, like, well, not Courtney. Courtney, I think, is the same on camera as off camera, but I get a little bit more reserved. Like you saw, I was sitting here, I was letting you guys do most of the talking. I was giving you very short answers, and that's just because, like, I have a buildup that I need to get to. I'm on right now. The way that you guys see me right now, and I'm not a different person, but I'm definitely a brand when I'm on screen. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with you know, saying that, because I love people and I love talking to people, but when I'm not on camera and I'm not on, you might not get the same kind of energy out of me. And that's just because it's a very reserved type of energy that needs to be withheld because it's my product, you know what I mean? So and I'm more of an introverted type of person. So yeah, so when I get to actually be on the other side and get asked the questions, I feel like my personality actually gets to shine. Like when I'm surrounded by a group of friends and we're all a little bit wild, like that's the side of me that I get to bring out. Otherwise, I'm a little bit more reserved.
So would you say you're extroverted once you feel comfortable, like with the people that you're around?
100%.
Hey,
100%.
Hell yeah. I know a lot of people like that. They're always like, oh, you know, I'm like shy. And then like I'll party with them or whatever. I'll chill with them. I'm like, I thought you said you were shy. And it's like, people just like
to
know.
Shy, and then they're the ones running. And then they're the ones running naked.
And it's just about like who you're around. And my wife is very similar to that. It just really depends on like the environment and the vibes and stuff. Whereas I'm like, yo, you put me in a room with somebody, I'll find something to talk about. I'll just be able to.
I can tell that about you. I absolutely can tell that about you.
I'll just figure it out. I don't know. I like to talk. I like to like listen to people, which is why I started the podcast and stuff, was literally just to talk to people because, you know, once you get to like, I'm about to turn 29, I'm about to hit that big 29. Once you get like past early 20s, what's up?
I said, you old bastard.
You old fucking boomer.
We're older than you. I'm just fucking with you.
No.
Yeah, we are older than you.
But it gets like difficult to like meet new people once you're like out of school settings, because like the only people you're really around are your coworkers, like the same people you see 5 days a week, and if they're all much older than you or you don't chill with them, you have nothing in common with them, it's like extremely hard to go and meet new people. So 100%. It was old bastard. There's my wife right there, Sundare-chan. So my wife is younger than me, but she'll get there. She's getting to that age as well. But it you know, it happens. It's like extremely difficult to meet people once you're like older and stuff, and I always thought that the podcast was just like a really cool, easy way to like find talented people. And like you said, like I'm not really doing too much of the talking. I'm just giving you a platform, and just like it's basically like it feels like A&R work, like just finding talent to be able to then talk to them, and that's it.
Definitely. And I think one of the hardest parts about what you and I do is booking a guest and hoping that they'll actually talk, you know? Some people are really good on their own streams, but once it's time to get down to a conversation, it's like pulling teeth.
It's like short answers, and it's like, well, you gotta give me a little bit more.
Yeah,
than
you
that.
gotta
Like,
work with me here.
Yeah, work with me. So how do you guys do it when it comes to finding talent and finding like people that you like? How does somebody get involved with, let's say, Just Trust Me? Like, how do you know who to bring on as a panelist, who to bring on as like the actual guests, and how's that work for y'all?
We really do a lot of so what people don't realize is there's a lot of behind the scenes work that goes into
a lot of legwork. Yeah,
we do a lot of lurking in other streams, and we do a lot of watching of other people, how they are on their own streams, how they are when they collaborate. And
word
I mean,
of mouth.
word of mouth. Yep.
We figure out who new people are with good personalities by other recommendations, stuff like that. Yeah,
I found Hover has been cool too. Like I found a lot of
Hover is really good, but I don't use it as a user because I'm more of a creator. Does that make sense? Because I'm more of a creator. When I go through Hover, there's a lot of great ones, but the ones that tend to pull me in are the ones that are like clips from the actual show, and there's too many skits out there on Hover. I'm not gonna like sugarcoat my answer, but I'm also not gonna put anybody down. I don't like bits on Hover. Like
that's like the TikTok stuff.
The TikTok stuff. I don't like it. So I find myself just swiping through a lot of stuff, and then I guess that's one of the hardest things about social media for me, So for me, it's about sitting in people's streams and word of mouth. And then Courtney does a lot more legwork than I do, to be honest.
I do a lot of the looking around, and for me too, we're lucky because Kirby has been doing a lot of in the beginning it was a lot of both of me and John doing the legwork of finding people, but now Kirby has been really helpful in reaching out, and every so often we'll suggest like, hey, we think this person should be a returning staple, we should reach out to this person. And a lot
Kirby,
of that
because he was a top finalist of Hover's Next Top Streamer. Was it season 2? Season 3? I don't remember the season. The most recent past season.
3, yeah.
He understands Hover way better than I could. So he also knows a lot of people who also competed. So he is a huge asset. Because he understands it better than I do. I think better than both of us do.
And so that's a perfect segue. What determines like a good stream for you, and what determines like a good streamer? Like what captivates you to stay in somebody's stream longer? And then just in general, like what character traits does a streamer have that in your opinion makes them like somebody that is worth going back and watching and actually being part of their community?
For me it's their I prefer streams that the streamer has no problem in just being their full self, interacting with chat, being able to just completely make an ass out of themselves if they need to. But it's just I need streams where the people that are streaming are big, out of like full of life, really energetic,
big personalities,
big personalities, good with improv, because as streamers, shit can happen. Anything can happen. Every moment of stream, whether it's good, whether it's bad, like anything can happen. And for me, I like watching for people who are good on the fly, because for us, everything with us is fuck it, we'll do it live. Even if there's a problem, we'll pivot and we'll improvise if we need to. And for us, we need that same kind of energy when it comes to either if you're going to be on our show, or for me, I just find that more interesting because I want to see people who are quick-witted and quick on the fly, with able to problem solve.
What about you, John?
The kind of streamers that I enjoy watching, man, I don't disagree with Courtney. I like big personalities. I like shows. Oh man, I don't know. I don't know.
There's not like one formula.
There's not one, because I love commentary streams. Like I love watching people with opinions. I love people who will double down on opinions, whether or not they're wrong.
Ones I agree with.
Yeah, because I find it very fascinating. Like especially if I have a different point of view from them, I see them as potential guests for other shows where I can just sit down and have conversations with them and just be like, no, like I see it in this way. Well, no, I see it in this way. Like that's one thing, you know what I mean? people who have very strong opinions, people who it's really hard for me. Like, I think, look, Twitch has such a wide variety of safe in the middle content that I kind of go for the fringe stuff. That has nothing to do with the kind of content that is popular. That is more the content that is for me. I like political stuff. We don't do any on talk, but I like political stuff. I will sit mostly in larger streamers who are talking about,
debate
current
bros?
What's that?
Like debate bros?
My I don't know who Debate Bros is, but like I like David Pacman. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
Yeah, I love David Pacman.
Or Hasanabi, right? Like
Hasanabi.
Of course, like those are the ones that I really sit into. But I also like great interviewers like Greg Miller on Kind of Funny, and those are the ones that really captivate me the most. And I don't like saying that because they are huge streamers, and of course we want to support the smaller streamers too. We really do. But I think that I have my sights on what I want to be and what I want to become. So I look at those who do it way better than I do. Does that make sense?
No, 100%, because I do the exact same thing where I'm like, I know, like, I definitely go into a bunch of streams throughout the day. I try and support as many people as I can. But there are parts of the day where I'm just like, I'm going straight to YouTube, and I know like the YouTube channel that I'm watching. And it's like, oftentimes it's a lot of like politics too. Like I enjoy watching debates and stuff, even if a lot of times debates is not like the best way to actually like hash out ideas and stuff, because a lot of times it just turns out into like yelling matches. But I like that shit. I personally enjoy the fuck out of that shit. But
Same.
And this is a question. Okay, is it necessary in your opinions for you to stay in their chat, them to have a camera? Like, do you have to see the streamer?
For me personally, I prefer it because I want to see you as a person. But granted, we follow some people who originally didn't have cams, who were originally VTubers, and for them, it takes a very rare personality to be able to shine through with no cam. I can give one example. Esnuil. She's a fantastic streamer, and for her personality was very rare. We interviewed her even though she didn't have a camera.
Is she like a VTuber, or like does she have like
half
avatar?
VTuber, half IRL. But when we first started watching her, she didn't even do the VTube stuff. It was just there was no camera at all. She had a character, like she's like this space astronaut like character.
There's a picture,
and slowly she's becoming more VTuber. But she has done a face cam reveal. She does do half and half now, but in the beginning she didn't have any of that stuff. It was just a voice, and she has an amazing voice. That probably has a lot to do with it too.
Her voice was great. Her content was really good, which is very hard to do. She was able to be a animated and very energetic streamer without being able to see her, and that was very difficult. That's very difficult to do. And she held our attention, and we collaborated with her back when she didn't have a cam, and that I think speaks volumes for her content. And so that's why for us, it really depends. I prefer to see the streamer, but if you have all of the other criteria that is engaging for me, then I'll be in there regardless of if your cam is on or not.
Ooh. I agree 100%. It's very rare for me to sit in a stream if they don't have a cam. It is very rare.
Hard.
But there are some, and they have to be established, I think, because if you start without a cam, it's very hard to get people into your stream, because there are other people doing the exact same thing you're doing, but with their camera on, and I think a majority of us want to connect in some kind of way.
Hey, y'all dropping wisdom right now. I gotta address chat because chat is loving it too. CF Woody, Sengi Strike, Flazzy All, thank you so much for being here tonight. Landshark, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the lurk, baby. My wife actually asked, she said she came in late. She wanted to know what it is you guys do. She came in late, so if you guys could explain, give that little pitch, that elevator pitch one more time.
Sure.
We're horny on main. That's what we do.
Horny on main and horny on constant. We have a network of a variety of different kinds of shows on Twitch. We have interview shows. We have gaming show. Trivia gaming show, I should say. We have an 18+ sex positive, body positive show that really incorporates the essence of who we are as people. We have it's edutainment, as John likes to call it. It's educational, but it's also entertainment. And we always make sure that everything we discuss within that show is safe, sane, and consensual. That is the foundation of our community, as well as the foundation of our channel. So we guarantee that there's a little bit of something for everybody, and we're constantly adding new shows and new content. So stick around long enough and you may see something you might like.
Hey, there you go. Y'all got it down to a fucking pitch, like right there. If you're ever in the same room as Mark Zuckerberg or somebody who fucking has like power, just boom, there's the ideas.
That's right.
And then back to the streamers without cameras, like that's extremely impressive. I would love to see that channel and that streamer afterwards, like if you could send me that link, because it's like it's not like a complete rule where I'm like, oh, no camera, like I'm not even gonna spend time in here. It's just like I've tried to be in streams where there's no camera and I'm doing like talking, and like I really try and like just help out like streamers who have nothing going on in their chat. I'll ask them like as many weird questions as I can, like, you know, how's the weather out there and stuff. And so many streamers that don't have cameras will just be so focused in the game. I'm like, God fucking damn it, they're not talking back. And like eventually I just like give up. I'm like, I've been trying to talk to you, I've been trying to help out, I've been trying to get to know you, but like you too fucking focused in this game, so I'm out of here.
Yeah. Look, like I don't want to be too much of a downer, but I feel like there are some people out there who just don't want to be helped. You know what I mean? Like they'll claim they want the help, but everything that you tell them is a deflection of some sort. So you just got to move on. And honestly, like there are people out there who are streaming just for the fun of it, and they're not there to grow, and that's okay. Like that's just what they want, you know? So I think that you just have to find those circles of growth and help those people out. I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who would definitely appreciate especially this platform that you have for yourself right here, and would jump on it. Like you reached out to us, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You took it upon yourselves to reach out to us, and you know, knowing very little about you, we said yes, because who are we to say no to somebody who wants to, you know, put us out?
I appreciate the hell out of that though, because like coming off of just like a random Twitter message, like you could look at my profile and I got even less Twitter followers than I do on Twitch, so you could just look at that and be like, oh, it's like a smaller streamer than us, like no need to do that. So I appreciate the hell out of that, just like coming on here and like not having that like, you know, we got to be on like this, you got to be on this level for me to talk to you and stuff. Like, you know, I just like talking to people, and like if that's like one of the things that gets in the way, is like, you know, everybody starts streaming at different times too, so it's like a weird thing to base off of, like, you know, I'm not going to talk to you because you're just smaller than me. It's like, well, I might not have been doing this as long as you.
And for us too, we're in the same position. I mean, we reach out to streamers who have much bigger audiences than we do. We reach out to Twitch ambassadors and Twitch partners, and we have them on our channels all the time. So for us, we understand the same, not struggle, but the grind is that's way I can put it. That, you know, for you know, best thing I can say is always shoot your shot. The worst, not even the worst thing. The only thing that could possibly happen is they say no. Right? And even if it's a no, you keep going, because like for every no, there's gonna be another yes. And
also,
even for every no,
can be not right now too. You
exactly. Exactly.
And
busy. Yes, closed mouths don't get fed, so it's better to just keep trying and keep asking, because more often than not, even if these streamers are in a different level than you are, you'd be surprised with how many people are actually willing and down to collaborate or just have a conversation, because for what they're doing, they might not get the opportunity to have the conversation. Like with us, when we interview people, we are lucky that they come on and they tell more about themselves than they would normally get to on their own stream. And I think that's why it's important that way. Even if you're gonna keep doing this, keep reaching out to everybody. It doesn't matter who you reach out to, regardless of where they are in their stream or content creation journey. Just keep doing it.
Hell yeah. We do have a question in the chat. I have a question for the interviews from Synthetic Divine. Thank you so much for joining us. First time chatter. Who's the funniest person they've had in their chat recently?
Oh, it's definitely Synthetic Divine.
Oh, 100% Synthetic
Came in
Divine.
here knowing the answer. That's awesome. I love when people from like the guest community come in here and they got their own inside jokes and stuff. Like, it's always so cool to see, because that stuff takes time to build. What's up, Grand Piano Man? We live. We live and we live, baby. You know the vibes.
So they got me because I love memes, and they threw some good memes at us. So that's where that stands. Yeah, in our Discord.
What have you found has been like the best ways to grow your channels, to grow the Discord? Like, what strategies have worked? Has there been anything that, like, you know, you might have tried at first and like it just wasn't resulting in like the way you wanted it to?
We pay everyone $1 to join our Discord. No, that's not true.
All those bots that say you want to be famous now, I'm like, fuck yeah.
Yes, I do.
I added a Wordle channel so everybody can put their fucking Wordle results on our Discord.
Yeah,
that
what
was
is
one
Wordle?
thing I did.
I see you
What
post
is
that. I
Wordle?
think like a couple,
It's
like
a word
daily,
game.
right?
It's a word game.
Oh shit,
Yeah,
I gotta try that.
Yeah, we're not here to pimp out Wordle, but it's a word game. And I absolutely love it. So no,
He's addicted to it.
how do we promote our channel, Courtney? I don't fucking know.
So what we've been doing is, I mean, we have a very strong Twitter presence. we
that is true.
We tweet constantly, and I mean, just from my personal experience, everything, just from tweeting, has grown our viewership, because we have people who are coming in who follow us on Twitter and see our ridiculousness on Twitter, that they're like, okay, I see what they're posting all the time, I see what they're tweeting all the time, I gotta see what their stream is about.
True.
And they tend to find that when they come into our stream, it's exactly what they see on Twitter. And so that's been helpful for us as far as growth. And then we encourage people with how our community is when we're talking in chat. We always tell the Discord that, you know, not the Discord, but our stream, that when you come into our Discord, we have channels for different kinds of discussion. We have a sports channel that right now is going off because the Rams are playing. And I don't know if you know this, but John is an avid Rams fan.
LA.
And because my Broncos haven't done shit this season, I am also now a Rams fan.
Hey, switch over.
So we're definitely, we have different channels in our own Discord, just like how we have different shows for everyone. We have different Discord channels to cater to everyone, whether it's memes, whether it's health and lifestyle, whether it's Wordle, whether it's, help. Like, sometimes people just need a place to talk to, or to vent into the void, and just to feel like they can get it off their chest. We cater to that within our Discord because our community is so important to our foundation, that's kind of how we grow organically throughout everything.
Our Discord is an extension of our chat, and our chat is an extension of our community. So I guess that's basically how we operate the Discord. And we have 2 Discords. So we have one for the 18 plus show as well, which is more NSFW in nature. And that one we use an extension of chat, because once that conversation ends during that stream, it continues in that chat and it lives in that Discord only, right? We don't want people taking those, because it could be a very private conversation, right? For many, even though the whole conversation is archived, but you never know, right? So yeah.
Hey, hell yeah. I found that Discord is like one of the best, coolest things to really grow Twitch channels. Like, it's just like a place to hang out when you're not live, and it just makes so much sense for that to be like a place that you grow from there, and then people just come and watch you once you're live, and like you could promote any other projects or merch or anything else that you're working on. From Synthetic Divine, question:
yes.
When Courtney says closed mouths don't get fed, is this in some way connected to the origin story of her seductively eating ice cream redemption?
No,
I don't know what
that originated on the Red Dead stream also.
Y'all gotta explain this. Y'all can't not explain this.
So on my channel originally, I discovered that I have a specific talent for eating ice cream in a specific type of manner. Some may call it seductive. We turned it into a channel point redemption.
Yeah.
And it
used to be called sexy, but Twitch won't allow us to use the word sexy on our point redemptions anymore.
Oh, really?
No,
I didn't.
so
we had to change the name.
Weird things that they go after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so inconsistent.
Tell me about it. So for us, we have that redemption on our Friday night show, where you can redeem with enough talk tokens to get me to eat a ice cream in a very seductive manner.
Oh, why? Does that have any connection to the closed mouths don't get fed? Probably not, right? It's just like an expression.
No, probably not. No.
He was just thinking about it.
But I do want to say though, because I don't want to get too far from because you asked us about how we get our branding out there.
Yes.
I want to give you a little piece of unsolicited advice, if you don't mind.
Exclusives, baby. We love those.
Consistency.
Oh.
So your handle should be the same on Twitter as it is on Twitch, as it is on Instagram, and it should be your website as well. Because we had a hard time finding your actual account, right? Because we were looking for XAVI, right? We were looking for right, and I was, so there needs to be a consistency, right? Your Twitter is different from your Twitch, and your website's different from both, and so that's my only piece of advice, unsolicitedly, is that the consistency of your branding needs to shine.
For sure, Sundere, yeah, I'm 100% taking notes, because that is 100% true. The Discord is different. It's because, oh man, like, it's been so. What do you do when you don't get the domain that you want? So like, you gotta add numbers and shit. Like, what do you do?
Well, here's the thing.
We changed it.
Just change it and find something that works.
Yeah, find a fun story.
This is a real story.
This is really what happened. So, right before Christmas, John came to me with the idea that, we do everything together. We work together. We collaborate together. What if we started a business? And, the title for it was Talk Limited. We branded and made everything without even having the LLC fully finalized, and that was a mistake because we couldn't actually get TVLK Limited.
Who would have thought that everything with the word talk in it was already licensed? Who would have thought?
Not that common of a word, I think.
No, right?
Right?
We thought. But then, John had the brilliant idea to turn, the A upside down and put it TVLK. And we tell people that, we do it TVLK like, television. That we try to say that. I try to make this. I want us to seem smart, but
I do not. I'm not. My brand is not smart. My brand is.
This is edutainment, though.
Edutainment, yeah, exactly. But that's why we changed everything. So we've rebranded everything because uniformity is what's going to help. It's important. It's a very strong foundation. So everything is TVLK. I mean, we changed our Instagram handle, we changed Twitter. Everything is exactly the same across the board, because if we want people to be able to type in that and then everything comes up. We want it to be so easy for you to find us that it's impossible to miss us.
Just engrave that shit into people's heads.
Oh yeah, if you go to Google right now and you type in TVLK LTD and nothing else, the first thing that pops up is our Twitter immediately. Our Twitch is actually number 1 now, which is amazing.
That's great.
Yeah, we like that.
Yeah. So, and then you have Talk Trivia that pops up. You have some. Twitch tracker. Our Twitch tracker pops up. So we own TVLK LTD. So that means if somebody accidentally types TVLK LTD in their browser, what happens? Let me see what happens if you put the space. Rather than actually search, they're going to find our Facebook. They're going to find our Twitter. They're going to find everything. You're going to find Courtney's Twitter. As a matter of fact, it pops up. So yeah. So
be careful with that one.
We're well branded, basically.
Yo, that's amazing, because it's really like, it feels like common sense at first, like, just make it consistent. But I didn't do that shit. So I was looking at this like, yo, he's giving me some like, pretty common sense. And then I was like, wait a minute, this dude's fucking dropping facts right now. Everything is different. and like, it's just like, it takes somebody else telling you it, because sometimes like, there's a lot of shit. So like, you got to do so many different social media platforms. The OBS stuff it's its own thing, creating scenes and like getting everything to work and look nice and like to be a production, that sometimes it just takes somebody telling you like, hey, you should fix this. And then it is the only way that anybody should ever react to something like that is like, hey, you're right, thank you, let me think about that. Never be like, man, they're telling me that my shit is all inconsistent, and then like get up all in your feelings and be like, I don't know, they're just trying to make me like, I don't know. That stuff sucks. Like when people take it personal and it's like they can't take feedback.
Yeah. The good thing though is that when I type in XAVE 325, all of your stuff pops up, right? Your Twitch, your Instagram, your Twitter.
I gotta
even though it's XAVE on Twitter.
I didn't get the fucking E, man. I'm like, still, and it's like it's a user that doesn't use it too. I've been messaging them like, yo, please, man, just give me this shit.
We had that too, yeah. So at the very least, you're using XAVE as a prefix on a lot of other things that it pops up. So
yeah, I'm gonna definitely take that into mind though, and just like get everything into one, and it does make just complete sense. Oh, Synthetic Divine did say something earlier I did not want to miss. My biggest piece of advice, cat pictures. I'm not sure exactly how you apply this advice, but it's the internet, so just go with cat pictures and you trust. Yep, yeah, that's it, man. You put out you put those out there, then people are bound to say something. They're bound to come to that. My next question would be, what are like your personal metrics of success? Like, what determines, you know, like a successful, let's say, year? Like, did y'all think that y'all had like a good 2021? Like, what is it about the show? Like, is it analytics? Is it like just, you know, like numbers? Is it like a personal metric that you have that you're like, you know what, we actually did very good last year, and I feel good about it?
So, fun fact, when we first started Talk Limited, I actually stumbled upon this document a little while ago. We had actually set up, because I'm the type A control freak that I am, I write things down. We had a list of goals to attain, just long term. It wasn't necessarily within the first year, but it was just long term goals that we had. And we actually together went through that list and we're like realizing, holy shit, we hit that one, we hit that one, we hit that one. Ooh. So for us, we don't really have we don't play the numbers game when it comes to specific things. We're not like, we need to have this amount of viewers every single stream. I mean, yes, we take a look at our analytics, but we don't tend to hang ourselves up completely on those kind of numbers. We want to see, okay, how much engagement did we get on this stream? At what point did we really start engaging the chat? What topic really made everyone interested in joining the discussion? What got people really heated? What got people to keep talking about it on social media? What got people to stay within the Discord? What works for us is our measurement is a little different than others.
Makes sense.
For us, we categorize a good stream based off of, hey, did we get new followers today? That's awesome. Did we hit this benchmark? We set goals for ourselves pretty consistently that once we hit that goal, okay, what's the next one? Like, we wanted to hit 1,000 followers by a certain point. Hit that one. Okay, next. And it's just, our goals tend to change because we want to keep growing. We want to keep fluctuating. So for us, we don't tend to nitpick on this is what has to be hit every stream for us to categorize it as a good stream.
Our short-term goals are kind of like a vision board, right? So like we put what we want to see and what we want to accomplish. One thing that I will say that I think is different from my goals to what the examples that Courtney said is that I don't set goals of things that I can't control. I can't control who sits in my stream, right? So I think that kind of doubles down on like the numbers thing on what Courtney was talking about, how we don't look at how many people are in our stream because we can't control people to stay in our stream. Now, what I can control is, you know, I want to start, for instance, watching back my streams, right? That's a goal for myself.
Do y'all do that?
You need to. You absolutely need to.
Yeah, I do.
Do I do it? No, I need to.
I do it.
Yeah, I try and do that every morning, like afterwards. I try and just like watch parts of it.
You got to watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
Is from my understanding, because what happens is when you're watching parts of it, you're watching your highlights, right? But people are not sitting in on the highlights; they're sitting in on the whole thing.
True.
Right? So you got to watch and you got to see which parts did I dip in, which parts did I do well in, you know, what kept the stream going up, which, you know, why did it dip on this part right here, that sort of stuff. So I set goals like, well, you know, we want to book X amount of people, right? I think that was one of our goals on our little vision board, right? We want to book we want to book X amount of people, you know, by this time next year. We want to have this many shows going, you know, at this. We want to have a consistent schedule, that sort of stuff, right? Those are the things that we can actually control as creators. Are the type of goals that I kind of set for myself. Because in the beginning I didn't understand what it meant to set goals. Like I remember I was like in the beginning, I'm like, oh, I want you know, 5 subs so I can open more
emote slots,
right? Yeah. It's like that's not the kind of goals, because I can't control that kind of stuff, right? I can't tell people. You could ask. Oh, here's a good example. We set a goal to ask, right? Because closed mouths don't get fed. So what do we say at the top of every show? Hey, you know, if you're not using your Amazon Prime, you have Twitch Prime. If you're not using it anywhere else, use it right here, right? If you're not hosting tonight's show, and this goes for everybody in the chat right now, if you're not hosting tonight's show, that is a free boost for this channel right now. You could be reaching more people just by hosting. So that's it. Those are the types of things that I would say we say almost consistently throughout the show now too. It starts at the top of the show. And then through, you know, as when we get a new raid, hey everybody, welcome in. If you're not hosting somebody, consider hosting us, right? You know, if you want to support the show and you don't have any bucks to give, that's okay. If you have Amazon Prime, that means you have Twitch Prime. Consider using it here. You know, these are like literal like just phrases that stick in my head. So they sound like catchphrases almost at the end of the day, you know. So and it's just to remind people that if they want to support, they can support, you know.
Right.
But the goal isn't so much to get X amount of whatever. Right? The goal is to stay consistent.
Hey.
Sure. Like I can give you one right now. I'm actually looking at the document. One of our goals, upload our episodes to YouTube consistently.
Hey. We started doing that this year.
Started doing that this
year. The React videos.
Yeah, that too.
That
was another one. Create new YouTube content because we wanted to start utilizing YouTube more.
Yeah.
For us, like I'll give you a little bit of insider baseball. One of our next goals we want to do is start putting things on podcast services, like you know, having episodes just be audio coming up on Spotify or Apple, you know, podcasts, wherever you can get your podcasts from. So
if y'all need any help with that, by the way, I 100% got you, because that's what I used to do before going on Twitch, was like purely audio. Like so all my stuff is like on Spotify, Apple, Google, Anchor, all that stuff. Like it's such a good because there are a lot of people out there that strictly listen to audio, so like it's just a good place to have more of your content.
Yep, we'll definitely have that conversation.
Hell the fuck yeah, hey.
Exactly, and that's the thing. So like for us, we set goals, like John said, that are within our control and that are attainable. That's the kind of best way to go about it, because if you're setting goals for yourself, like it's cool to be like, you know what, I want to hit affiliate by this amount, by this time. That's all good and dandy, but making sure you set the realistic goals for yourself, like, hey, I want to make sure I actually stream this many times a week consistently.
Yeah, because we could find excuses every day to not go live.
Oh,
you know
hell
what I mean?
yeah.
We could find all the excuses, but if you really want to take this seriously, you need to look past your excuses, right?
Yes.
So, because there's always that one person who's expecting you to go live. We get messages sometimes, it's like, hey, weren't you supposed to go live today?
It's like a TV show.
Exactly, and I'd be like, no, we announced it that we're not, because you know we have another engagement this week, so we moved the show around, and we just in my mind, I feel like I just let one person down. They didn't get the messaging right, so that sucks. And because I know that one person was waiting for our show, and it almost makes me want to hit the go live button just for that one person. You know what I mean?
Because that's a dedicated person, and like quality over quantity, for real. Like the people that really stick around are the real ones that you should focus on. Like if there's one person in your chat and they're talking to you, fucking stick on that shit, because like quality over quantity any day. Y'all said a whole bunch of stuff that I would love to react to, but just 1 second, because Synthetic Divine has been, like I said, Synthetic Divine has been in the chat hyping this shit up, so I'm 100% gonna fucking read all your shit. I've never seen Bakuman, by the way. I love anime though. This channel is huge on anime and food. If there's anything that you ever want to come in here and you're like, man, I really don't know what to say, I really don't know how to like break the ice right now with XAVE, talk about food or anime, and that's all you got.
Perfect.
Straight up, I've never seen that one. I do love Death Note. And what did they say? Oh, the React videos have been great, especially that Sakura gummy React video. It was the best yet. Yo, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't seen it yet, but just based off of the thumbnail, I have that shit in my playlist where it's like watch later, just because I saw the thumbnail, and like that's just a prime example of how just like first impression thumbnails can really just like make a huge difference on getting people to watch your content. If you have a good thumbnail, like I will save that shit. If I can't watch it right there, for Courtney, I'm like, please watch later.
Hey,
because I make her choose the ugliest faces sometimes, and she's like, I hate this face. I'm like, you need to use it. It's making me laugh. I think it's really cute. You got to use it. She's like, I hate it. Trust me, people are gonna like it.
Hell yeah.
She hates using those faces.
Nah, keep doing what y'all doing. The thumbnail game is fire.
God damn it.
But what I did want to say from before is what y'all were saying was fucking isms. Y'all were dropping fucking bars. But it's true.
Exactly. Like, no, I want to say right there, is it Fly-Izzy?
Flazzy, my boy Flazzy.
Flazzy. I can't get an ugly face from her. She thinks it's an ugly face. She thinks it's an ugly face.
I love Flazzy. That's a real life friend, IRL, like a true fucking great partner in this, like has been with me throughout all this shit. Always coming in here with the cap locks. Sometimes he'll go into other people's streams and the cap locks kind of throws them off. They're just like, oh, but like I love it. I fucking love it. He did tell me he went into
energetic. God,
energetic as fuck.
Look at that. Look at our pog face that we have for our channel. She hates that face. I think it's a fantastic face.
No, hell yeah. That's the emotes people want. You got to give people what they want. And that shit is amazing. But what I was gonna say is, it's so true.
It's cute. That's right.
It's cute.
Exactly.
Some people do set up goals where it's like, I need, especially because like they get influenced by the like, okay, this is the standards of being a Twitch affiliate. They say you got to have this many viewers, average or whatever, and you got to stream this many hours. And then the next thing, obviously for partner, it's way bigger. People get hung up on those little goals where it's like very difficult to really control. Like, you might stream every week the same day, and then one day that week the people that normally come to your stream are busy. They got a fucking graduation, they got a fucking cousin's birthday or whatever, and they're not there. And people get so hung up on those goals that those are the goals where if they don't hit them, they get discouraged and they're like, oh, maybe this isn't for me, maybe I shouldn't do this. Whereas like what you're talking about, like the bigger goals of like, I want to put out this much content, I want to be this consistent, I want to make a schedule, I want to do more on TikTok or whatever. Those are things where if you don't do them, it's really on you. Like that, you got to figure out why you're not doing that. Maybe there's something about, creating TikTok videos that's just like causing you stress and you don't like to do it. It gives you anxiety or whatever. Like that's all on you. It's no longer about like, okay, nobody came into my channel and you couldn't control that. So like, it's very important for people to make, realistic goals where it's also something that, don't get so hung up on. If it's not working out right away, you just give up. Like, Flazzy, I'm gonna use you as a great example. At first, he was having trouble with all of the OBS production stuff on like the back end shit. And I was like, bro, you're gonna get it, man. You can't stop. Like he talked about a couple times of being like, yo, maybe this isn't for me. And I was like, nah, man, like, trust me, this shit is, nah, you do not suck. And he says it too every time. He's like, I'm the worst streamer on Twitch. I'm like, nah, bro, you got it. He's now working with what he has. The OBS shit was just too heavy. So he decided to get like the Twitch broadcast system. And now his streams like are doing well. He's like got more followers now. And I'm like, bro, thank God you never fucking quit, because if you had quit over some shit that you couldn't control, like, your camera, your card not being good enough to run fucking Halo or whatever, like, those are things like you just got to work with what you got. And he did it. And I'm mad proud of him for doing that. CF Woody, thank you so much for being here.
Can I give some unsolicited advice though?
Yes, drop that.
I get it. I have a huge problem with self-deprecation as well. But if I could give any kind of advice, words have power, and everything you say carries weight. And it's okay to say like, oh my God, I suck, or I did this wrong. But the more and more you say it, the more and more that becomes your reality. So if I could
the universe is gonna send that right back to you. So don't say it.
Yeah. So the more what I would like to say is, the more you tell yourself like, you know what, we'll get this one next time, or you know what, I'm a good streamer, or even like hindering yourself to say, like, don't call yourself a small streamer.
I'm doing better every day, right? I did better today than I did yesterday, right? Don't call yourself a small streamer. I like that one too, because small attitudes bring small rewards, right? You're a streamer. Fact of the matter is, you hit live, you're a streamer. Get that small out of your vocabulary. 100%.
Exactly.
Courtney.
We're very much the kind of people that's why when we talk about our show, we will sit here and say we have the best trivia game show on Twitch.
Yes.
We have the
number one game. Yeah.
The number one trivia game show on Twitch. We have the most the most edutainment when it comes to our sex positivity and our body positivity. We
the
will
number one
never
sex positive podcast on Twitch, right?
Exactly.
Like, we're number one. Like there's nobody doing what we're doing. You know what I mean? Like, so why?
But you also have to hype yourself up. You have to, because it starts with you. And if you don't hype yourself up, who the fuck can you expect else to do it? So it ultimately it starts with you. Tell yourself every day how fucking amazing you are, because you are. And the more and more you say it, the more and more the universe gives that back to you. Like for me, I constantly say every day, we're gonna get this bread today. We're gonna get up. We're gonna make money today. We're gonna do this today. We're gonna hit our goals today. We're gonna wake up and hit the ground running today. It all starts with you. And if you put that out, that's what you get back in.
Yo,
synthetic, we are lucky to have you.
Hey.
No lie. Like that's exactly right. We are lucky to have you. You know what I mean? Like, fact of the matter is, like, if you don't appreciate every single person, you're not gonna be anything, right? So I lost my train of thought but anyways, yes, I agree with everything that Courtney said.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, Bowtie Club, their Friday night sex positive relationship streams are mad fire. Fuck yeah, hell yeah.
Thank you.
That's actually, I think, the first one that I went into where I was like, yo, I like streams where people are doing stuff that's different. Like, I'm not trying to go into another goddamn Warzone fucking stream. Like, there's plenty of those out there. I like when people do different shit and like take it serious. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was talking about this with someone the other day. Like, there are people, and they're good, kind-hearted people. They're fucking nice people. I would love to hang out with them. I would love to chat with them. Not everybody is an entertainer and like a fucking, you know, a performer. That's a different thing, and different things go into it. And I will never belittle it to be like, you know, anybody could be a performer. Anybody could be an entertainer. Anybody could try and do anything they want in life. You could literally fucking do anything that you put your mind to. But at the end of the day, like, not everybody is just like, you know, like charismatic and just gives you something to hook onto and something where you want to listen to what they're doing. And like, it, you know, is I think everybody can improve that. Everybody could work on that. Everybody could try and become better. Obviously, even myself, like,
hey, there's always room for improvement. And that's the mentality you got to have, because we're changing and growing every single day. And the moment you think that, you know, you don't have anywhere else to go, that's when you get complacent, and that's when you get stagnant, and then there's nothing else for you to do. We are constantly of the mindset that we need to do better for the next time. We need to do more. What else can we do? What can we do next? And that's our mentality, is we constantly try to keep getting better, because that's the only way that we're going to get more out of whatever it is that we're doing. So you got to be about it to stay about it, you know?
And I like this shit because, like, you know, what y'all saying, it sounds like something that like a life coach would say, but it sounds so much more natural and real coming from you both. Like, just because it feels like, you know, it feels real. Like, sometimes people could say this exact same thing that you guys are saying, but it's just like, man, this is just like another YouTube life coach that like is just saying like some shit. Like, it has to, like, the personality has to be there as well. It has to feel authentic, and that's what I really like about both of you.
I think it's because we wouldn't bullshit anybody either. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's what it comes down to. Like, we'll tell somebody like, hey, this isn't working. Like, we as individuals, as viewers, like, we don't like this and that, and it's like, you know, we're not gonna bullshit you about that. You know what I mean? But like, we have to tell people what works for us, right? Like, going back to like setting your goals, like, don't set, like, the reason why I would say something along the lines of, hey, you know, don't set goals for like how many people sit in watch you, because as soon as those people stop showing up, who, you know, it's something you can't control. So who are you going to blame? The viewers. And now you're not coming on, and you're not giving yourself, you know, that 100%, because you're so dependent on those numbers, and you're and you're projecting your frustrations. Now I've seen streamers who just straight up say, hey, if you're not loud enough in the chat, I'm just going to stop streaming. And it's like, what the fuck? Why would I want to sit in that? You know what I mean? Like, don't be that kind of toxic streamer. You know what I mean? And it's like,
also, those nights where like I was streaming to nobody, man, that shit was like, that was like boot camp training. Like, it taught me like, all right, how to just keep talking when nobody's there, like how to just narrate the game, how to just like talk about my day or whatever. Like, that shit really felt like boot camp training. Like, to the one day where I have hundreds of fucking viewers, I'll be able to just talk.
Be the same.
Exactly. It'll just be the same.
One thing for us, we always stream, like, we stream with the mentality, because, you know, every day could be your last. So we always stream like that show could be the last show that we ever do. So for us, we stream like, we're always going to stream as if we're streaming to thousands of people, regardless of who's in the chat. We're always going to give you 200% of us, and we're always going to give you the best possible show we can. And we treat every show like it could possibly be our last, because that is how you give a good show every time. That is how you give 100% of yourself every time. And people, that will resonate with people. If you keep giving that of yourself, and you keep that mentality of, you know what, even if there's 2 people in the chat, I'm going to stream like this is my last show. That's how you keep being yourself, and you keep giving more of yourself that people will want to keep seeing more.
Hey, there you go. Synthetic Divine. I've kind of always been of the mindset that giving streamers humorous comments to feed off of is often the best thing you could do as a chatter, since you're providing them the chance to actively engage in a positive way. 100%. And that's why you goated. That's why you come into a chat and people will be like, yo, Synthetic Divine, you here? Like, you know, because there are people that I see and they're like, oh, what's going on? I'm here to, like, I'm just popping in before I go to stream and I'm like, all right, cool, man. Nice to see you. Peace out. And like, I don't really give them much attention because I know like the intentions that they're bringing. Like, it's like you're just here for self-promotion or like, you know, just because you hope that I'll come and raid you later or whatever. Queen and Leo, welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, y'all are bringing heaters tonight. This shit is straight fire. Which now I gotta ask, like, so at what stage of content creation and growing channels do you then start to focus on monetization and like, you know, opening Patreon or doing different avenues of merch and stuff? Like, at what point do you think you should focus on that as opposed to like really just focusing on creating content? Because I know there's got to be like a switch where it's like, all right, now I think I have enough people or enough viewers or enough like something where it does make sense where I should try and make money off of this.
Well,
okay, we're gonna have two different answers. I already know this.
Yes.
So don't say we on this one.
So my thought is you have to know your why for why you're streaming first. If you're doing this strictly as a hobby, there's going to be no point in which you're like, you know what, I should make money off of this. But if you are,
never mind. You can say we. She took my answer.
So you have to know your why for why you're creating content. If you're creating content as strictly a creative outlet, you're going to reach no point in where you're thinking about the money.
100%.
But because for us, we came into this automatically knowing that yes, we love content creation, but this is something we want to do for a living. This is something we want to make a career out of. So for us, from the get-go, we created an LLC because we, from the beginning, wanted to make sure that we had entire creative control and licensing over our brand and over our channel. So we knew from the get-go we were going to figure out any possible way to monetize because yes, we have fun doing this, but we are not doing this for the fun of it, if that makes sense. And you know what? For those of you who are doing this for the fun of it, that's okay too. But just be real with yourself and your community about why you're doing it. For us, we are very transparent about the fact that yes, we love creating and putting on a good show for everyone, but we are not doing this just for fun. We are doing this because this is what we want to make our livelihood. And so for us, we monetized from the beginning. We knew this is what we wanted to do. We created the LLC for it. We have merch. We had merch from the very beginning because we knew going ahead that eventually we would want an entire clothing line. We want to see our brand on people's bodies out in public or on the internet. And so that's why we have our merch store. We have our Patreon with a merch tier that has exclusive merch that you can only get if you're a Patreon member. Same thing with like, you know, we have coffee, however you pronounce it, and all these different avenues in which to try to make money. And so it's really about coming to the realization of at which point you need to know your why for why you're doing this. And that will be the only way you can organically figure out, okay, this is when I need to start doing merch. This is when I need to start branding.
And yes, I had it as a question, but I think I already have the answer is, you know, there are people out there where I ask them like, what do you see as like a long term for this? Like, would you stream full time and then just focus on this? Or would you still have your job and would you, do streaming like at night? And some people will say like, yeah, I can see a future where like I'm working this type of job or whatever, and then I still stream on, you know, the days that I choose to stream. But it sounds like for both of you, like this is like, you know, the goal is to become full-time content creators, really make Talk Limited like the platform that you have, and really just continue to expand. Like I don't see why you wouldn't continue to expand. Like you got a new show coming February 13th. Is that
February 14th?
February 14th on Valentine's Day?
On Valentine's Day.
On Valentine's Day.
That should be a Monday.
So is that really like the long-term goal? Just continue to make this full-time and just expand?
Our long-term goal is world domination.
World domination. So anything less is meaningless.
We want everybody to understand that Talk Limited is here for the long run. Whether or not you watch all of our content or just one piece of our content, you know what Talk Limited is. We are not Twitch partners, but I can guarantee you will run into one person who knows what Talk Limited is when you start looking, right? Everybody here that's been listening to us tonight, you all know now what Talk Limited is, right? Whether or not, you know, you knew before. So that's our goal. We want to be synonymous with content creation. Absolutely.
We want to do more IRL stuff. I mean, we have aspirations for not just the reason we created an LLC is we didn't want to be pigeonholed or tied down to strictly Twitch.
Right.
Because
if the day Twitch says we can't be on their platform anymore, that's fine. Fuck it. We'll go somewhere else. And we know that people will come with us, right?
Yes.
That is the goal for Talk Limited, is that we can create the content that we want to create. I also want to I want to go back for just a second, because I agree 100% with the merch question answer that Courtney said. But I also want to say that you also need to know that you are providing a product, right? The reason why we started the Patreon tiers day one of Talk Limited, the reason why we started the merch store day one with Talk Limited, the reasons why, you know, we provide what we provide is because we understood what we wanted our product to be, and we wanted to be able to offer that product. Whether or not people started purchasing day one, that was out of our hands. That was out of our control. But we knew what we wanted to provide, right? And it went, you know, in the beginning, when it was just a hobby, I knew that I wanted it to be more. And yes, I went the route where I took my emote and I put it on a shirt and I had merch. I have merch now, right? I went that route in the beginning, not fully understanding what it is that I wanted to do. By the time Talk Limited launched, we had a logo. We had the idea for a full-on clothing line. We had, we had a basic idea of what it is we wanted our product to be outside of content creation. So that's basically what I would say, is the day that you understand what your product is, that's the day that you want to sell it.
Your brand.
Brand.
Yes.
That is something like when I was like, I don't know, younger 20s, like I just did not understand. I was like, man, I'm just creating content and I'm putting it out there and somebody will eventually find it, with like no strategy behind it, literally just like uploading shit to like Instagram, hoping like, I don't know, the algorithm will take care of it. And that's just not the way to do it. It's truly not the way to do it. Synthetic Divine, like I said, I want to get to all your shit you were saying. So Courtney is creating content in the hopes of luring Jason Momoa into hosting a podcast with her. Is that Celebrity Crush?
Okay.
She makes one comment.
What was the one comment though?
Well, so here's the thing. By trade, offline before Twitch, I am actually a professional photographer and videographer by trade. I own a sports and entertainment media company here in the state of Hawaii. And I've actually gotten the opportunity to work a couple of red carpet press junkets and gotten to meet some pretty amazing people. I make one comment about the fact that I've actually gotten to work with Jason Momoa when he had his Aquaman world premiere here on Island, because he's of Polynesian ancestry, and this is like he didn't grow up here, but he has the connection here, and that's why he had his premiere here, and I got to work with him face to face. He touched my shoulder and moved me aside and called me sweetheart. So unfortunately, yes, he's going through a divorce, which is really sad. But I made the joke that because he touched me and called me sweetheart, that now is my opportunity. He's gonna clearly be with me now.
That's it. and
he made
now,
the move. Yeah, so now that's the thing. But to be fair, I've also interacted with Peyton Manning and
nobody
The Rock
cares much
and
about
Jack Black.
that one.
But nobody's gonna say that I'm trying to get at The Rock, even though I've interacted with him too.
Hey man, The Rock is also super fucking jacked too. Like people just Jason Momoa just like looks so fucking cool. Like just looks like he's literally Aquaman.
Chill.
Like it just looks.
He's super chill. He's the most chill person you'll ever encounter. I mean, he went to his own world premiere in slippers, as you folks call flip flops. So he was wearing like a tank top. He looked like he just came from a day at the beach, and he was doing a full on press thing.
Hey.
And he just showed up like super chill. So I mean, yeah, he's the most chill person you'll ever meet, which makes him that much more
when a
sexy.
streamer announces their celebrity crush, you can never let them live it down, or else what proper member of chat would you be? Hey, you just showing that you a good community member. You know the inside jokes, and that shit is always amazing to see. Now moving a little bit away from content creation, but still something up your alley, and especially the way that we've been talking about it. So like, it's important to really, sell yourself. It's important to just like be confident. At what point does confidence then become cockiness and arrogance and no longer like a good trait? Like when does that become like too much? It's like overbearing and like a turnoff.
John, you want to take this?
And can it, or is there like, just like complete,
it
it's
absolutely
sexy.
Yeah.
No, it absolutely. It's when you start cockiness or confidence can turn to cockiness when you start being real with yourself, I think, right? So like when I say stuff like you know, it's my show, it's all about me, a lot of the times it's in jest, because when the cameras are off, when I'm you know, elsewhere, I'm giving credit where credit is due. There has to be a separation between the character that you are versus your actual personality. So I think that if you do things without expecting things in return, which I believe is my characteristic, that people will give you a slide when you say something that can come off as cocky, or you know, they can see it for what it is, and that might be like, you know, a bad joke, you know, or you know, a little bit of an you know, an ego boost for yourself. The fact of the matter is, we all have egos. We all want to believe that what we're doing is really good, because if you don't believe in yourself, nobody will, you know. Yep. And I think that the people who can look past a comment about you know, like we said earlier, we are the best at what we do, we're the only ones that do it, and you can see that as more of a launching pad for ourselves. You know, they don't have an ego about themselves. You know, they'll listen and they'll say, okay, these people are saying these things because they're working towards what they want. You know, I think that if you get into your own feelings about what somebody else says that has nothing to do with you, that's more of a you thing. So there's a lot of things that I think come into play. You're going to have haters regardless of what you do. You know, I like to consider myself a very down-to-earth person. If you reach out to me, if you message me, I will always respond to you. If you ask for serious advice, I will give it to you, you know? But, you know, if I don't think that I'm the best person for that advice, I will tell you. You know what I mean? Like, I think that I think the internet makes it very easy to villainize people when you don't really know them. Mm-hmm. And the only time that I think that you could really equate confidence with cockiness is if something actually happens to you. Mm-hmm. If you reach out to somebody and they think that they're better than you for all sorts of XYZ reasons, and they treat you a certain manner, mm-hmm. I think that's the only time that you can really, really point to, hey, this person is probably not the best person out there and I shouldn't associate with them. Mm-hmm. You know, that's not a character. That is really how they are. You know, yep. I think that's the time. Yep. Otherwise, and I'm going to use somebody as an example, Capri Sun Poppy gets a lot of hate online, but he does a lot of stuff in character. Mm-hmm. Right. Yep. And I think that's what people forget, is that we are entertainers when we're on this screen. Right. Mm-hmm. Yep. He calls into his entire chat idiots. Mm-hmm. Right. But he is such an entertainer that he is in character. Get him in a one-on-one chat and he is so, you know, what Sweet. Could I do? Yeah, he is. What could I do for you? Thanks so much for talking to us, you know. Mm-hmm. But when he's online, like, he's an asshole, but that's part of his character. Mm-hmm.
That's his shtick.
That's his shtick. Yeah. And I think that you need to shed that skin, that outer layer of raw emotion when you're online, and realize people are going to disagree with you regardless of what you say. Mm-hmm. You know, you can have an opinion, and people will tell you that you're wrong, but you can't be wrong. It's an opinion, right? And if as long as you double down in your character, I want you on my show. You know what I mean? Like, so
fully embrace it.
Yeah, I think that, as long as you know in your heart that you're a good person, that you don't, you know, that you wouldn't villainize somebody else. Yeah. Like, don't let somebody villainize you. And I think our egos are the most sensitive things out there, but I don't think we should really have one. So
for sure. Courtney, anything to add?
For me, I would say, you know, it's really hard, especially, this is going to be controversial. So being a female on the internet, right? It's tough, because anytime a female is confident on the internet, it goes two ways. It goes one of two ways. It's either a really sexy trait, and they're like, oh yeah, she's a boss bitch, or it's, oh, you're just a fucking bitch. And it's really hard, because, you know, for me, it took a lot for me to be confident in myself and confident in who I am as a creator and who I am as a person. So yeah, you know what? I've worked really hard in my 30 plus years of living to get to where I am today, and I'm still growing. So you know what? If I'm going to be confident about it, I'm going to own it on the internet, on stream. And you know, sometimes there are people who are really all about it and they love that. And then there are going to be people who will interpret that as, oh, she's fucking cocky, or oh, she's stuck up. And that's fine. At some point, if as the creator, if you're gonna have people coming at you thinking you're cocky, you can't control that. You can't control how people perceive you. The only thing you can control is how you perceive yourself. If you know that you're a hardworking person and that you're a good person and that, you know what, I'm gonna be confident in myself, because if I'm not confident in myself, I cannot expect anybody else to believe in me. So it's ultimately gonna get down to you. And that's how I interpret it with other people too. I will not immediately jump to assumptions that this person being this type of way on the internet is exactly that way, because you don't know what happens behind the scenes. And like John said with Caprice on Poppy, he is a character on stream. He turns a show calling it, he roasts people or cancels people on his show. He cancels people on his show and he's an ass to them. But when you actually get to know him and you see him on other stuff, he's not an asshole. That is a character. That is his brand. And that's what people have to learn to differentiate, is the brand from the person. Especially when it comes to being on the internet or being on Twitch. Not every person you meet on Twitch is what they are presenting or what they are portraying. So like John said, you got to get past the ego and realize that not everybody is who they say they are in either the good or the bad sense. So
exactly.
I do want to get back to that because I have a question about that, but let me just read Synthetic Divine. See, it's hard to get a big head as a member of chat, no matter how egotistic you become as a chatter, because the only people you have to be better than are the lurkers, and the lurkers are too cute to hate on. 30
That's
plus.
fair.
Courtney doesn't look a day over 25. Synthetic Divine, you really are the fucking goat chatter. Like, you come in here
all
with
right,
so
I'll
much.
give you your money later. Stop.
Sundere's best quote of the day was, which one, Sundere? You can't be wrong. It's just an opinion. Toma nota, querido. All right, we're going to talk about this later. What is it called? So continuing on that, because I was going to take it somewhere else, but then like, do you think that like what do y'all prefer? Like creating a character that you are when you're on the internet and then you're someone different, or do you prefer just to be your authentic selves and that's who you are in real life as well?
Well, I'm already extra as it is, and so it just tends to be that the character that I portray is still me, but amplified to 100, maybe even 200. So I don't have my style. I don't have a separate character. Granted, like who I am on stream is just me on crack and jacked up
just turned up
to whatever it is that we're doing. If it's the sex positive show, that is 100% me, but just the light is shined on that particular portion of me. When we're doing our interview show, that's still me, but it's just a different facet of me that you're gonna get to see more of. So for me, we have bits and we have a little bit of a character, and yes, that's still, it's still a portrayal and it's still a character, and we tell people that this is a character on stream, this is a brand, but it's still a portion of who we are as people, because John and I are just, we're 100% real with who we are on stream as well as offline. What you see is just either an amplification of that or just a different facet of that.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get that. Like, I'm not about to be the same person I am, like, when I talk to my manager as I am on Twitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going into my manager's office and be like, yo, what's up, bro? How you doing? Like, and, there are all different parts of society like that. Like, I don't talk to my wife the same way I talk to my mom. I don't talk the same way to my manager as I do to my best friend. And it's just interesting because, like, there's like, I guess like a lot of like, now I'm thinking more in like to the stuff that I watch outside of Twitch, which is like politics and stuff. Like there are a lot of people out there who, they spew a lot of like, in my opinion, shitty opinions, and they hide behind it's just a character, I'm just an entertainer or whatever. But it's like, nah, y'all are also just like, this, you can't just say, you can't divorce this. You can't just divorce this from your normal like morals and opinions and just be like, I'm just in this to make money and like I'm an entertainer. And I don't know, like sometimes I would prefer just to see someone without a gimmick, but I totally get it because I think I've seen like his content a couple times, and like it's funny as hell. I don't know him as a person, so I don't know if I would be able to differentiate what is, you know, him and what's not. But you know, I'm thinking of like fucking like Fox Wing hosts and shit right now.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say, I think I know exactly where you're coming from, and I think that's a different, that shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah, or like an Alex Jones who's like, you know, will get sued and then be like, nah, it's just an act, it's just a character I play. Where it's like, dude, this shit has like real world fucking consequences,
repercussions. Absolutely. Yeah. That's a different story altogether for sure.
Yeah,
but no, we are who we are on stream. We're entertainers first. So. Hey. The people that we portray are us, but we're amplified. We're putting on a show. We're we're engaging, right? Otherwise, I mean, if it were really me, I wouldn't be talking as much, because as much as we love our viewers and we love our community, I don't know them that well, right? So if I warn people when I meet them, I'm like, look, like, I know how you see me portrayed on screen, but if I meet you, like, I'm gonna be
different.
I'm gonna be a little bit more reserved, you know, as I get to know you, you know, and that's just it, you know. And but on screen it's different, right? Because you know, who I'm really talking to is who I can see, and who I can see is usually myself, and then Courtney, right? So who I'm, you know, and that's easy. And I think that's what makes it easier for me having a co-host on a lot of our shows, is I can have that real conversation, and that side of me can come out very naturally, rather than talking to, you know, who I would probably consider, if I didn't know any better, a group of strangers, right? So I think that's the biggest difference between how I am. Hey. Courtney's an extrovert. She'll talk to anybody.
Talk to anyone.
Well, the funny thing is, people think with me that they're like, oh God, she's so, you know, I'm very much a social butterfly. But I'm also the kind of person, like, I will read the room. I will see and feel it out. Like, if I notice that I'll get more accomplished with silence than I will with talking, I'll do that. I'll be more observant. I'll be more quiet. But at the same time, if I can tell that the room is requiring me to be my loud, boisterous self, I will give you exactly that. I will command the room, because I will not shut up. And so, yeah, like John said, what you see with me is what you get. But I'll definitely read the room, and that will determine how I interact.
Yeah, of course. Like, energy is contagious. Like, if you go into a room where like everybody's in a good, positive mood talking, like, you know, you're gonna get a lot more out of me than like if I walk into a room and everybody's on their phone and nobody's saying shit. Like, you know, I'm gonna go on my phone. I'm not gonna say shit either. And Synthetic, the biggest draw to the stream lately has been John's nips. People have been coming into chat wanting to see them. Is this about to be a redeem? Is this about to be a redeem? That applies to chatters as well. I'm way more shy in person than I am as a member of the chat. We all project in our own ways, of course. And that's what makes like the internet like a special place where like you feel like, you know, you can open up in ways that might be a little bit tough, like if you're face to face with somebody. Could you guys explain the importance of building a sex positive community and platform? Like, why is it important in general that we move society's views on sex stuff? Because, you know, it's something that I imagine has to be a little nerve-wracking, Courtney, especially for you, like, because being sex positive is a good thing, but you don't want fucking creeps in your chat, like, saying all types of weird fucking shit. Like, you know, it's like, you want to create a platform and a community that's open to these types of things, but you also don't want to put yourself in a position where, like, people are saying weird shit to you. So, like, could you guys explain that aspect?
Sure. That's actually really interesting that you ask that, because I actually tweeted just a little while ago that yes, because I may be sexual in nature and sex positive, but that does not give you the right to come into my DMs guns blazing, showing me your penis or telling me that you're gonna fuck me and I'm gonna enjoy it. I mean, it consent is everything. And for us, we created this safe space because, one, we want it to be educational. We want to be able to spread knowledge, and we want to be able to create a space where people can feel safe to not only learn something about themselves or learn something about the world in which that they're trying to get into, but we want to give people the freedom to also have the conversation and feel like they can in a place that's not going to be judgmental, and a place that's actually going to yield them the safety that they deserve. And we're very, very protective of that space. And we are very fortunate that we're fostering this community where people can feel like they can be themselves. And for us, I mean, I'll just speak for myself. This was important to me because when I was growing up, I didn't have that. I didn't have the place to be able to vocalize what I was going through. I mean, I can be transparent. I am pansexual. And growing up, there wasn't the terminology for that. And there wasn't a place where I could learn about that or question about any of that. And, you know, I was lucky that, you know, my mom wasn't so, you know, reserved that we couldn't have a conversation about sex. But at the same time, we grow up in a society that, you know, open conversation regarding sex or things that are considered taboo, like kinks, fetishes, different forms of love relationships, different forms of sexual relationships and lifestyle. So for Jon and I, we are very much interested in all of that, that we wanted a place initially for ourselves to have that conversation, an open conversation. And it grew into something that we realized we're not the only ones who had a need for this. We were not the only ones who wanted to learn more, who needed the safe space to explore our sexuality and learn. And so it's very important to have all of these conversations because we don't know who's out there who could benefit from the conversation, who needs to learn more, who want to learn more. And I think that's where this has been really important for all of us because it's allowing us the freedom to learn together.
Hell yeah. And Queen and Leo, absolutely. Consent is sexy. There is nothing fucking like better than just understanding that you're both on the same wave and like just same idea and that you're both enjoying what you're doing. Like that shit fucking sucks when you're like with somebody and, you know, there's just confusion about what is supposed to be happening. Like always talk, communication for real. And do you have anything to add to that, Jon, about like why it's important to create like what is bad about not having a sex positive society? Like for those that don't like really get it, like, you know, what is the point of making this, or like why do this? Like what is the negative side of actually not having a society that talks about this type of stuff?
I think not understanding sexuality, I think, would be the negative part, because we've already had, you know, a history of demonizing sexuality and you know outcasting people who are different from each other, right? So like whether you're you know, from the 60s and 70s with, you know, the gay movement, or, you know, today with the, you know, the transsexual movement, like we have people who have been targeted and demonized just because of how they feel. And, you know, there's this stigma behind that sort of stuff, which I think doesn't really make sense to me, because if they're not affecting you in any way, it really shouldn't affect the other individual. We shouldn't be telling people what they can and can't do with their own body. And that conversation comes up, and it's one that is, like Courtney said, we take very seriously in taking care of our community. But, you know, at the same time, there should be nothing wrong with a female streamer, you know, using her sexuality to empower herself if she wants. It has nothing to do with anybody else, you know. And I'm very, I think, lucky to have found a partner like Courtney, who is very sex positive, because it helped me understand what it is to you know, feel sex positive in my sense, right? It's not about the creepiness behind it. Well, yes, we do get people who can be creepy in chat, and I want to let people know, like, we don't let stuff like that slide, or we definitely don't intend to let stuff like that slide. And it's something that we are slowly coming to terms with as streamers, is that we're going to have to let some people out of our community if they act a certain way, right? We don't want them there. It doesn't matter how much they, you know, gift or contribute, or, you know, throw money at us, right? If they're going to act a certain manner that makes Courtney or any other member of our community uncomfortable, they are not welcome. And it has everything to do with consent. No means no, right? That whether that means a sexual relationship or a romantic relationship, if you cross lines, it doesn't belong here, right? And, you know, nobody means more than me when I'm doing streaming than Courtney. I want to make sure that she is absolutely protected the entire time, especially when we do these. And I don't know because this isn't something usually when it happens in the chat and it goes away and we continue with our stream, we roll past it. We roll past it, right? So one thing that I want us to be is more vocal to the trolls or to the people who are being disrespectful. And I think that we took that opportunity with that one troll to really let them have it and show them that it's not something that is okay
or tolerated,
or tolerated, right? So it's a learning experience, but at the same time, it's a place where we just want to make it normal. We want to make it normal for people to talk about
that conversation.
Sexuality. You know,
yes.
Everybody feels those emotions. Everybody feels in those manner. And when I say everybody, I mean the overarching everybody. Of course, I'm not I understand that there's asexual, aromantic type people out there, and that's perfectly
demisexual as well.
Yep. So
no, for sure. I imagine that for a lot of people, they might feel like, I don't know, some type of entitlement, like, oh, it's a sex positive community, so I could come in here and just like, say some out of pocket shit and then just be like, oh, but this is just how I am. Where it's like, that's no excuse to make everybody feel weird.
We are very, very clear. We're very clear that even on the sex positive streams, we are very clear that even when we raid out, we tell the chat consistently that this conversation is here. Just because you have this conversation with us, the other person we're taking the stream to did not consent to that kind of conversation. So regardless of the conversation we have here, you don't take that into that other person's chat. And the same thing too is we don't, yes, we're having this conversation tonight on a Friday. This conversation does not continue into a Wednesday stream. This conversation doesn't continue onto this or that. We're very much, we're very, very clear. And like it boils down to over communication. We make sure that it is very, very clear to people that this conversation is here in this present moment and it does not go elsewhere. And also I do want to point out that yes, consent is very important, but you also are entitled to change your mind. So just because you say yes to start, if at any point in time you decide that no is on the table, that you are completely entitled to change your mind and say no.
Yeah, that's
no matter
big.
what point of the conversation, because people feel like just because you say yes to start, that the no doesn't mean anything after that. That's not true.
Yes.
You have every right to say no at any point in time. At any point in time. Or just like, I do want to point out earlier, Synthetic Divine talked about how the other night I sent out a tweet telling people to, I want to see your penis, which was part of a bit that we had on stream. And I wanted to make it clear that yes, that we have moments like that are bits, but the moment that tweet is done, that does not give you the consent to be in my DMs after.
Yeah.
And I make that very clear that even if I ask for it in the beginning, I have every right to say no.
Yeah.
After the fact.
See, and this is why this is important. This stuff is really important because it's stuff like that people don't get. And, they'll go to an atmosphere like college where they've never had these conversations with their parents. They didn't learn anything about this in school. So then all of a sudden they're in a situation where, they've been drinking or something and they got the initial consent, but then, midway through it or whatever, they're like, oh no, like I'm not feeling good. I don't want this or whatever. And they just don't get it because they've never had these types of conversations. Well,
sex education in America has failed. I don't ever remember having the conversations about consent. I don't ever. All I ever remember is if you have sex, there's pregnancy, and if you have sex, there's STDs. That's the only conversation I remember.
Here's a condom over a banana, and go about your way.
Right. So our conversation is sex is fun, sex is good as long as it's consensual. That's it. Yeah. That's our conversation. And we remind people that everything that happens within the confines of our chat has to be safe, sane, and consensual, right? Yep. You cannot consent if you are under 18. So our show is an 18 plus podcast. If you are not 18, you are not welcome in the discussion, plain and simple. You are also not welcome in the Discord because anybody under 18 cannot consent, period, point blank. So that is the basis of our conversation. And I mean, it's like, we don't like to get too serious about sex, obviously, because it's supposed to be it's supposed to be fun, but it's a very serious manner out there. And I think that a lot of people, not to get too political, look at the climate and they're like, oh, like the Me Too movement, and are like, oh, I can't do anything anymore. It's like, well, if your anything is to to smack the waitress's ass and say it's a compliment to it. That's not consensual, and you're the problem. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the generation thing. You know what I mean? So right now is the way I think our generation is going to close that gap, is by having the conversation. You know, and if the people who do not want to be sexually involved with anybody can say no in a safe environment where we're all having conversations about sex, I think everybody wins. You know.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to read back what Queen and Leo said. On the real, I'm glad you all are having these conversations to promote a sex-positive community. There's people like me out there who grew up in a very strict religious household and didn't get a good education about any of this. Not digging religion, just the use of it in my particular household. My wife said I totally understand this as well. John, I think I can sense you are of Latino descent. Right?
Yeah. I grew up Catholic.
Oh, okay. So, and like, I know, man, I know, because my family's Dominican. My grandma's super religious, like still going to church, hoping every Sunday I'll go with her. And I'm just like, Grandma, this stuff is too boring for me. I can't do it. So I know you know the types where it's like old school mentality. Don't talk about sex. Definitely like, you know, this is something private. Like you shouldn't like talk about any of this. Like how, like, have y'all had any, you know, I guess family that's been like, what do you like? Has there been any weird moments? Do they know that this is the type of content you guys are creating? Has there been like a need to explain? Like how's that work? Because I know not everybody is this like open-minded.
Sure.
Well, Courtney has a very different answer than I'm going to have. I can tell you that much. But no, for the most part, my family doesn't know that I'm doing this. I mean, like, I feel like I could tell my mom everything, but she doesn't need to know everything. Like last year I went to a nude beach and I told her, I was like, hey, my wife and I went to a nude beach, and I told her about that. And she's like, oh, did you get naked? I was like, fuck yeah, we got naked. You know what I mean? Like, and so like that kind of like, but like these kind of conversations, it's just, it's kind of like a need to know for me. Like, I don't feel like people need to know that I'm doing this, and it has nothing to do with embarrassment or anything, but that's just because of how I was raised. So but Courtney has a whole different story.
Let me hear.
For me, my mom was very, very point blank with sex from a very young age. I knew
her mom was in our first shows.
Yes. My mom, put it this way, we had the chat. Limited. My mom, the only shows my mom showed up to in chat was Let's Talk. And the worst part about that, my mom would steal the show. We're out here trying to have a conversation about sex, and my mom is over there talking about her sex with my father in the chat. And I'm like, first of all, Mom, this is my show. First of all. Second of all, I don't want to have you talking about sex with my dad to my chat. And then she's over there talking about her kinks and shit. I'm like, Mom, I don't.
No, your mom is
proud
chill
of
as
you.
fuck.
Let your freak flag fly, Mom, but don't do it by me. I don't need to know. And I mean, it's just crazy because for me, I got to play it off as, folks, now you see where I get it from. And so my mom.
True, though.
Is she not religious? Like, is she just, you know, pretty open?
I mean, we are religious to an extent, but my mom was very, very much open-minded when it comes to sex, and I have a feeling that a lot of that has to do with where we grew up. You know, Hawaiian
culture is different.
Yes, Hawaiian culture is very different when it comes to sexuality. We always joke about that Hawaiians are good at two things, and that is war and love. War and love. Well, war and sex. And so, you know, for us, it's very much a different mindset, and but that doesn't go around for everybody. I think for me, it's
which
just my
think is ridiculous, because I want to point out, yes, I'm from a I would say religious household, but it's not really. I'm not really. But like, Latinos are traditionally very religious, but they have so many fucking kids, so you know they're fucking. Like, why? You know what I mean?
So, like, they're just not talking about it.
They're fucking on some like they're fucking on like machismo levels though. Like, it's just like a dad who's just like, I'm late. Like, I want my wife to just like give birth and fucking be at home. Like, that's at least a lot of the households I've seen, like older households.
You're absolutely right, but like, if they didn't like it, they wouldn't fuck so much. You know what I mean? Like,
right?
The conversation needs to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So on the same token, so my mom is very much about it. Granted, I know my mom had played our stream for my entire family during a barbecue at the house.
Yo,
So
I don't think I
had
can
like
handle
aunts
that.
and uncles. Oh, I didn't know how to feel about it. But on the same token, my father, so my biological father, because my mom remarried and my stepdad is more of my father than anything. But my biological father, I don't have that conversation with him about what it is that I do. Granted, I am not shy about it. If you follow my Instagram, I post all that shit everywhere. So for me, my entire family pretty much knows exactly what I'm doing on the internet. I'm pretty certain. They just don't necessarily talk to me about it entirely. Some of them do. Some of them have questions, and they're like, "Oh, are you okay that you're putting your whole ass on the internet?" I'm like, "Well, first of all, it's not my whole ass, okay? It's not my whole ass.
It's not my whole ass. The asshole isn't there.
The asshole is covered.
Yeah, it's like you don't see like the. But
that's for the Patreon.
Yeah, that's for another site that we utilize entirely. But for me, it's like John said, it's knowing who you can talk to about it, and I'm different from John in the fact that I don't hide a lot of it when it comes to my parents specifically, because I know I can't hide anything from my mom, especially not on the internet, or especially not here because it's such a small island. So I knew right away that if I didn't tell her about it and she had to find out about it from someone else, it would have been 100 times worse. And I know that my mom is going to support me. And because for her, the conversation we even had about it is that she's like, I was never, I never hid sex from you. I never hid anything from you. And so I expect you to have the conversation with me. I may not fully understand right away, but we need to be able to have the conversation. So yeah, when it comes to sex and all that stuff, I tell my mom like, hey, we talked about dildos today on stream. I talked about that I like to have sex in public. And sometimes my mom would be like, oh, wow, me too. I'm like, I didn't need to know, Mom.
Me too. Yo, I don't think I can handle that. Straight up, I don't know if I can handle my mom saying that type of stuff. I would just be like, Mom, no, please, no. But it's cool that you have that relationship. Because that's honestly like, I think a lot of people go into sex and like their understanding of sex is what they watch in like porn, which, sometimes is not very fucking realistic to what actual sex in real life is like. And, we live on Twitch, we live on the internet, and like we do a lot of stuff here. And I know there's a lot of young adolescent boys out there who don't really know what it's like to interact with the other sex in person.
100%.
And they take like what they watch on porn or in the internet and they apply that, and they think that, and that's where you get into these bad rabbit holes where it's like people who watch like, gore or stuff like that in porn, and then think that it's okay to just like go and slap a woman while they're like in an intimate relationship with her. Like that shit is really fucking bad. And
unless she consents.
Unless she consents. Yeah, if that's what you're into, then that's what you're into.
Yep.
But don't go into it thinking like, oh, I watch this in porn so I could just punch you in the face without saying anything and you're gonna like it. And if you then start and be like, no, like that's just part of like a bit you're doing, like, I think it's important for people to really talk about that. And it's great what you guys are doing. It's just like, I really want to know if like there's ever like a time where someone's come on and been like, nah, this stuff is bad, like this is not real empowerment. And like, has there ever been any situations where you've come across someone who's just like really adamantly against this?
No, but we've had people who like to try to derail, who will say things like, while we're trying to do a bit or a show or make it fun, like something like I would never do that, or I wouldn't know I'm a virgin, or like it's like, and we usually have to acknowledge and be like, it's okay if you wouldn't, it's okay if you don't, but the conversation right now is for those who do and want to, and it's like, I think that people's opinions are so strongly want to be heard that we just have to take the commentary for what it is, and we just need to acknowledge it and be like, okay, we understand that it's not for you, but you don't need to say it every time we mention something new. You know what I mean? If it's the same person. Now, if it's a conversation of like, what will you and what won't you do, and one person's like, I'll do this, and then the next one they're like, I won't do that, and then they'll be like, but I will do this. That's different. But it's like, if you're purposely in there just to shit on everything that we're doing, like, we have,
somewhere else.
We will take we'll tell them. It's like, this conversation doesn't sound like it's for you. We have had to tell people that before. This conversation sounds like it's not for you.
Yeah. And we are very adamant about the fact that we don't kink shame within our community. Just because it's something that we may not necessarily be into, that doesn't mean that that it's not okay. So as
long as it's within legal and consenting guidelines.
Yes, and it's safe, sane, and consensual, and everyone it's not hurting you, it's not hurting the person you're interacting with, then that's fine. And we're very, very clear. So for us, we are very clear with our verbiage when we discuss these things, because like we said, words have power, and the things we say are very important to us. So when it comes to especially very serious conversations, or even sometimes the not so serious conversations, we are very clear with our wording, and we are constantly telling people, yes, we have our personal experience. We are not trained professionals. So take what we say with a grain of salt. Also, we try to make sure that when we have specific conversations that are very much important to be educationally sound, we give resources. We give sites to back up what we're saying.
Sources.
Sources.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we're very, very clear about that.
Amazing. Synthetic Divine, I don't think I ever had a sex talk with parents. Honestly, I was luckily not then corrupted by all the internet porn I watched as a teen. Yeah, man, it's just like, I really think that consent is like the key to everything. It's just understanding what your partner wants, what it is that pleases them, and what they don't like. I think a lot of people go into like sexual encounters and don't even want to talk about it. They just want to go straight to like, the bang bang shebang, that's it, without actually talking about like, hey, do you like this, or do you like this, would you want to try this, or like, stuff like that. And I think that's super important.
Exactly right.
I had a whole bunch of other questions, but unfortunately I do have to get off. Tomorrow is my wife's first day back at university, so I don't want to let her go to sleep too late. Please plug in everything. Let everybody know where they could find you. Y'all have been amazing guests. I had literally a list of like relationship advice from like Reddit with situations where I would get your opinions on them. But when you get 3 people on here who could talk a lot and just have a lot of wisdom to bring, you end up going over your time. So please do plug in everything where you guys are at.
I just typed in the handle TVLK LTD. Literally, if you Google it, all of our stuff pops up. So go ahead and try that. TVLK LTD. We do everything on that channel as well. So if you want to check us out there, make sure you do. This coming Friday is a very, very special episode of Let's Talk. It is Courtney's birthday celebration stream. So her birthday is on the 5th. We're celebrating on the 4th, and I'll be there on the 6th because I'm going to go out there and visit Courtney. So no stream on that Saturday, but we are celebrating on that Friday. Ooh. And so you'll catch us in, one time we did a Bunny Senpai stream where we both dressed up as bunny girls, and I think we're going to do it again this time.
Yes. That is going to be lit. Happy early birthday, Courtney. I will definitely try and be there. That's going to be a fucking pop off of a stream.
Yep.
We're excited.
Yep. Totally excited.
Any final words, Courtney? Anything else you want to plug in there?
Well, first and foremost, thank you so much for reaching out to us. Thank you for having us here. Thank you for having this amazing conversation. Thank you for putting us in the interviewee seat instead of the interviewer seat. This has been a lot of fun. And thank you for giving us another platform to not shut up on. So thank you for letting us plug Talk Limited and getting to know some of your chat as well and your community.
Y'all deserve it. Y'all are fucking awesome. Like, truly just genuine people. I had a lot of good like insight, just like I learned something. I have like things where I'm like, I gotta go fix this. I'm about to make everything the fucking same. Brand. And like I personally learned. I know everybody in the chat had a good ass time. Synthetic Divine, you truly are a goated fucking chatter, an amazing community member. Like, you've been in here since the start, just fucking hyping us up, saying funny ass shit. Thank you so much. Code Wolf, thank you for coming through. We are at the end of the interview. Please do go check out Talk Limited. JonB, Courtney808, fucking dope ass host. Like I said, it's cool to have a show. It's fucking cooler when you have a network. It's way cooler when you have a network. So thank you so much for both being on here. And like I said, I genuinely enjoy your guys' content, so you will definitely see me in a bunch of your streams. And I hope to collaborate and have you guys on in the future so I can get through the rest of these questions.
Definitely. Yeah. Anytime.
Hey, thank you guys so much. I'm going to now hop off this Discord call, and I will talk to you soon.
Have a good one.
Have a good night. Peace, peace.
Bye.